What's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. So as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be breaking down all of the things, all of the juicy things that female inmates use soap for. Now, it is as weird as it sounds, and we're gonna get into that. But before we get started, if you are new to my channel, my name is Jess. I'm a recovering addict who served time in prison, and the goal or mission, if you will, of this channel is to share my experience with you and share my life with you. And I do that in the hopes that other people will not fall down the same path that I fell down, and maybe my story will help inspire others to get out of that lifestyle, seek recovery, or just be inspired in general. That is always my goal on the channel. It is not to glorify or glamorize prison life, because there is nothing thug or cool or tough or gangster about going to jail and spending your life in a 8x6 room. Like a toilet room, you know what I mean? There's nothing cool about that. So if you don't already know, we have a second channel. It's right here. We have a podcast. It's over here. Those are all the places you guys can find me. And my Instagram is always linked down below, or it pops up over here occasionally. So those are all the places that you can follow me if you are interested in following me on all those different platforms. I also have a Patreon. It's $2 a pop. There's only one tier. There's only ever going to be that one tier so that it can be affordable to everyone. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm just gonna start with the most, obvious. I'm gonna get the elephant out of the room. Is that the saying? We're just gonna jump right into the thing that women use soap for, other than, of course, the standard, wash your body with bar soap, okay? So the number one thing I think of, if someone was like, yo, Jess, what do females use soap for in prison? The number one thing that I'm thinking of is a sex toy. Now, of course, if you've never been to jail or prison, you wouldn't look at this and be like, oh yeah, toy. But they take the state issued soap, which is very, very small, and they get it wet and they mold it and shape it into the shape of a male body part. And then they take a glove from medical and they stretch that over the soap so that you're not just putting soap into your body. And that is what they do. Funny story, the last time I was in county jail, we had a raid, and a girl that I just told a story about, I'll leave it on the card up here. It'll be somewhere. We had a raid and they came in with dogs. They were looking for drugs, and as soon as they pull Lucy out of her cell, her and her girlfriend are laughing, and I'm like, oh my God, what? They're not laughing because there's drugs there. It took me probably 30 seconds to be like, oh my God. They made one of those, and now the cops are gonna find it, which is not a big deal. It doesn't affect me at all, but the correction officers will never stop talking crap to us because they found that. You know, so they'll bully you, they'll not give you soap, they'll talk crap to you if they find that in your cell. So I don't think we got state issued soap for like a month. So that was a good time. The correctional officers also made a big scene when they found it and were laughing about it and acting whatever, and they acted so immature when they found it that it was just so embarrassing and cringy for me to even watch that situation. I'm like, this is just embarrassing. Y'all are acting like clowns. Not gonna lie. But it's a very common thing and it will be taken away. So if a correctional officer finds a bar of soap and it has been changed or altered, they will take it away. That is contraband. So if they see someone change this, even if it's we're gonna get to the other things that inmates make out of soap, but if they change this at all, or it looks like it has been altered, the cops will take it away. They'll probably break it in half, look at it, and take it away. Number two, inmates hide contraband in everything. Now, when I say everything, I mean everything. Underneath a deodorant, in food, in bars of soap. Now, I was able to get a razor blade, so I'm just gonna show you guys how an inmate would get a razor blade in a bar of soap. I took apart one of REECE's Gillette razors, and they have the really skinny razor blades. They slide it into the side of the soap, and then get it wet and kind of smooth out that area where they put their razor blade. And it passes, you know? You keep your bar of soap in your soap box, because you can buy little containers for your soap, and it usually passes, and correctional officers are none the wiser. But because it's soap and you can very easily mold it to whatever once it's gotten wet, it's very, very, very easy and very common to hide contraband in a bar of soap. I kind of want to pause here and just explain. I got a couple of questions in my toilet paper video, I'll leave it on the card up here, If toilet paper is such a valuable commodity, why do inmates use it for other things? And the reason being is because we get very little. We don't get paper towels, we don't get napkins, we don't get clean cleaning supplies, you know? So you have to work with what you have. That's why they take soap and make it into other things, because what else are you gonna do? We don't have access to a lot of things in jail and in prison, so you have to work with what you have. And prison made me MacGyver. I can take apart things and put it back together, or change an item, or make it how I want to. You know, it doesn't matter what situation I'm in. You know, I just did a vlog on our second channel, and I went to a hotel and they didn't have K-pods, so I ripped things apart and made it into something else so that I could drink my coffee, because I brought K-pods to the hotel. It's like, whatever situation I'm in, if I need to change something to make something work, I will, you know? And prison just made me that way. It made me MacGyver. It made me think through problems. And so, you know, that's like a pro of going to prison, I guess, is that everyone becomes MacGyver. You do what you gotta do to get whatever it is that you need done. All right, number 3, laundry soap. Now, you wouldn't look at a bar of soap and think, oh, I'm gonna wash my clothes with that. That's laundry soap. A lot of people don't wanna put their clothes into the laundry with everyone else, because you're washing your clothes with everyone else's stuff and everyone else's bodily fluids, and it's all in the same water, you know? And that grosses people out for obvious reasons, because prisons don't use like high level cleaning material. They use this like powder stuff, you know? And a lot of times we would wash our under stuff, like socks, bras, and panties. We would wash that in the dorm so that we didn't have to put it in with everyone else, you know? It would gross a lot of people out for obvious reasons. So we would take the soap and wash our whites with it. We would wash our underwear, we would wash our bras, we would wash our socks, and then we'd hang it up on our bunk so that it could dry. And the crazy thing about that is, I've been to facilities where certain correctional officers get so mad when you're hanging up things to dry, unless it's a towel. You know, unless you're hanging up a towel right after you take a shower and you're trying to like hang up your whites, they get mad about that. Not every facility, not every correctional officer, but I've met correctional officers that are like, take that stuff down, because they don't want to see your underwear hanging off the bed, I guess, like whatever. I've only had a problem with that when I was in an open dorm. So I've served time in an open dorm where it's like 50 bunk beds in a giant room, and I've also served time in a closed tier, which is I have one other cellmate. When I was in a closed tier and I had a cellmate in a cell, they didn't really care if you had a lot of stuff hanging off the bed, but when it's an open dorm, for some reason, in my personal experience, the correctional officers got crappy about that. They're like, take the underwear down. So, okay, Bob, we'll take it down. Okay, number 4. A lot of inmates would use Irish Spring soap as air freshener. Now you have to keep in mind, we don't have things like that. We don't have smell good stuff. We don't have perfume. We don't have air fresheners. We don't have candles. We don't have things to make the dorm or your cell smell good. So I would know people that would take a sliver of Irish Spring soap and put it on their rack underneath their mattress, you know? Or they would take like an empty lotion bottle, and the lotion is called lotion, and they would empty it out and put water in it, and they'd take little slivers of the soap and shake it up and just kind of squeeze it so the smell would go all around your cell. Or they would wash their floor with it so the cell smelled good. They were always trying to get their cell to not smell like prison or not smell like poop or whatever. So air freshener, top of the list when I think of things that the soap is used for, because we don't want our cell to smell gross. Speaking of air freshener, another thing that I would use as an air freshener is baby powder. I would put a little bit of the baby powder in my hand, and I would just kind of go and blow it all around the cell so that it smelled good. I also did that when we were trying to smoke bud or cigarettes. There are certain ways to kind of reduce the smell if you're trying to do something that you're not supposed to be doing in jail. You know, so when I was an 18-year-old kid serving time, I did not care about breaking a single rule, getting in fights. I was very unruly. So I learned different ways to make the room not smell like bud. Since I mentioned that, I want to throw in here, there is drugs in every single prison in America. And it's so prevalent, it's so difficult to stay sober in prison, because there is dope in every single freaking prison I've ever been to, or the prisons that my friends have ever been to. You know, I've never heard of a dry prison. I've heard of dry streaks, you know, like they can't get stuff in, but I've never heard of a prison that had nothing at it. Maybe you did time at a prison that never had anything, or maybe you just didn't know about it, I don't know. But personally for me, in my personal experience, that's all I can attest to, is every single facility I have ever been to, there has been dope. So a lot of times people want to use air fresheners so that it doesn't smell like whatever it is they're trying to smoke, whether that is just nicotine or bud or some other stuff. So okay, number 5. So a lot of people would take soap and sculpt different things out of them, you know? Just because they're bored, they would make like little soap hearts or little soap, you know, pieces, like chess pieces or whatever. Now that really is only done in like solitary confinement. I haven't personally ever seen anyone doing that in an open dorm, just taking a bunch of soap and making it chess pieces. But I have seen chess pieces made out of soap. I've also seen chess pieces made out of toilet paper. In solitary confinement, you can play chess with someone next to you. You just make the board out of toilet paper and you get all the pieces and you kind of write on what the pieces are. Sometimes you won't actually make the pieces, but you'll mark what they are and you can kind of yell back and forth like, okay, move here, you know? So I have seen people sculpting different shapes out of this for like little gifts or like just because they're bored or what have you. I know we've all seen the prison movies where people put soap in socks and beat each other up with it, but really I've never seen someone get hit with a sock and a bar of soap. They'll sock and lock you. They'll put a lock in a sock and freaking smash you in the head with it. I haven't really seen soap though. I feel like the soap thing is more mild. Like it would still hurt if someone put a bar of soap in a sock and like hit you with it really hard. It would hurt, but I've definitely seen more damage done with the lock in the sock method instead of the soap in the sock method. So I've personally never seen anyone get hit with a bar of soap. Maybe as a joke, but not like as a serious weapon. I've seen a lot of things used as weapons and I have not seen soap used as a weapon, just for me personally. I know it happens in every prison movie or every boot camp movie or whatever, but I personally have never seen it. All right, you guys, I'm gonna end today's video here. I hope you enjoyed this laid back, pointless video. Hope you learned something about prison life. As always, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay sober, whatever that looks like to you. And I will see you in my next one. Right? So air freshener into Corona. Is that you?